Let me get Joe.
Check 1, 2. Joe Souza here. Can you hear me? Can you hear me now?
Oh, yeah.
Okay.
Oh, yeah.
Get that thick.
Porky projection.
Thank you, guys. This is fun.
Right on.
Yeah, thank you for having
Thank you,
us.
Andrew.
So we got Kaimana, Kahiau, Joe, and Iokepa, Souza, and they make Kanile'a ukuleles.
Yeah. Right on, Andrew. Thank
And,
you.
oh man, there's so much to talk about.
Mm-hmm.
I don't even know where to start.
I don't either.
Yeah.
Kaimana's going to have a baby boy.
This is true.
Congratulations.
Big
Yeah.
Papa.
Yep.
If he looks like he's glowing, it's because he's pregnant.
I've been saying he's been getting that dad bod.
Is the bump in the camera? It's
Yeah.
below, right?
Yeah, no, I just got your top. Little baby bump.
Got the snake fit shirt on.
So you guys brought up some really cool ukes too that we're gonna check out, but before we get going with it, I mean, I think people watching this already know a lot about you guys, but maybe you can just give us a good overview of Kanile'a, how it started and where you're at right now.
Yeah. I know everyone's looking at me as as dad and the innovator in what we do, but as Kanile'a, we oddly enough started building when I was 21, and so that would have been in 1991, but didn't really build an ukulele seriously until 1993, and then we started Kanile'a in 1998, and that was really because it was no longer just myself touching the ukulele. I took on an apprentice, and from that time forward, just pretty much, we thought Kanile'a was a fitting name, as joyful sound and who we are and what we do, and so from there we really evolved, and it's so funny because when you asked me that, the first thought that came to mind was I remember going to your dad's shop, when you guys were in Kaneohe, and it was no longer necessarily so much, kitakis, string instrument repair, but more ko'olau as a builder / brand at that point.
Uh-huh.
And, taking one of my first ukuleles to him and, having him critique it. Because,
Oh God.
he obviously is very well respected as a builder, and it's like, well, what kind of finish did you put on it? And he's kind of running me through the gauntlet. But I think all in all, what I showed him, it impressed him because as a young builder, and really the attention to detail. Although I even today, looking back at some of my early work. Yeah, it may have been a bit crude to today's standards, but at the time, and really with the limited resources as a builder, pretty much I was just in the garage on a table saw, and a bandsaw, and a sander, and where we are today, and the things that we do as far as innovating and really making the ukulele, the modern ukulele, really unique. So yeah, it's kind of a good snapshot of who we are, as Kanile'a. And then now with the 3 boys, I mean, that's a father's dream, to have our 3 sons involved, and all of them in really different capacities, but more importantly, what they developed as their skill and what they love to do, as Kaimana doing, coming through Islander and coming into production and really being part of Kanile'a in that capacity to, today being in sales and marketing, to Iokepa, and really taking on the challenge of learning what Kristen did and does to say for the company for so many years, where Kristen really and her team is the backbone of Kanile'a. What she does administratively with human resources and everything, to Kahiau now, wanting to follow the footsteps of Dad as far as a builder. And in fact, we were kind of talking a little bit on, something Kahiau had done. When was that? Maybe in, is it 8th grade or?
Oh, you're talking about the writing?
Yeah.
Yeah, that was I think I was 9, so that probably was around 4th, 5th grade maybe.
Mm-hmm.
I actually did a little class project, and then they asked, what do you want to be when you're older? And already by the time of 4th or 5th grade, I already knew in that I wrote, I want to be a ukulele builder, following the footsteps of my dad, and in some sort of creative passion and artistic passion. So going into this, I kind of got to fill both those roles, because basically it's pretty much an art piece at the end of it, getting to design with such beautiful ranges of wood and tone woods. And I mean, even tone is an art piece in and of itself. So
you were instrumental in the design of the new Platinum, I heard.
Yeah.
That's one thing I wanted to talk about. That design is like so interesting. And we have one, right?
Yeah.
Do you have one at Reach?
Yeah, it's a little bit behind you, but here you go. Yeah.
And while he grabs that, that project that he did, Mom actually framed it, and it's on his desk at work right now.
I mean, it's gonna come true. Apparently, it did.
Yeah. So, if you don't know what our Platinum is yet, I can give just a quick explanation. Every year we release a new Platinum model, basically showcasing what Kanile'a can do. And then, luckily, this past year I was able to team up with Joe and, just basically go crazy in the workshop. So, we actually started designing this back in March of last year. So, we started with the concept, because the whole kind of showcase of this kind of new instrument is actually the true relief, which is basically like the best way to describe it without getting too complicated is like a Stratocaster. So the idea actually stemmed originally from a wedge body instrument where one side would be thicker and one side would be thinner, kind of giving it a wedge. And then basically taking that idea and kind of tossing it around, seeing how can we improve on that idea, and that's where we came up with the true relief, and then it ended up on our instrument. Took several months of R&D just for the bending a top. I don't know of any instrument that has had a bent top before, definitely bent sides, but so it was crazy. Also looking at the way we can kind of structure the tone of the instrument the way we would like, offering a nice mid-range punch, nice high, clear high end, not too like bell ringy, but a nice clear high end. And I think we kind of hit it right on the bullseye with the tone of it. As far
it's like with that design with a bent top, like my intuition just like it seems like that's a bad idea, but it's interesting what it does to the sound, and it's like even if you lose a little bit of the boom on the low end, like you get something kind of magical in the middle that's different. It's a really intriguing sound.
It's like it really sets it like this Platinum apart from the previous ones, not only look but sound as well. And then for us, when me and Corey and I are doing all the sound samples and recording with Andrew, that was like something that we're just blown away. At first I didn't even notice like how it kind of tapers off until I walked up closer and I was like, whoa, what the heck is that? So like I grabbed it, I put it off, it was hanging on this wall, took one strum on it, and we were just like, what is this? Like it feels, looks, and sounds unique, but it has everything you would expect from a Kanile'a ukulele and more. So hats off to you guys.
Let's talk about some other features that are really interesting. Like you have like basically there's not really a bridge patch. It's like strips in the shape. What is the idea behind that?
You know what? I think from a builder's point of view, we're there's a balance in what we're doing as far as strength and weight that is required to provide strength, and ways of relieving weight or mass to allow for greater vibration or, better tone, to say. So the whole thought behind it was to relieve some of the mass on the, even under the bridge or on the bridge plate, and allow for greater resonance, but still ask of what the bridge plate does, the functionality of the bridge plate to provide support under the bridge, because really that's where all the string tension kind of equates to, that one spot, to say. And, taking the concept of reducing mass even in a different way that was on the inside of the instrument, this mass reduction channel, to say, that was basically a pocket that allows for resonance, allows for vibration, but doesn't sacrifice the structural integrity that we're looking for. And I think by putting the bend, to say, in the top, it provided,
made it a lot stronger.
Yeah, a sense of rigidity to it.
So then that could be reflected in your bracing too, or like it's can pretty much be a really light build because you have that stiffness created by the
by the bend.
Yeah.
And then, by moving the sound holes too, and Kahiau can kind of share a little bit as far as what we did by basically taking something that was literally almost smack dab in the middle, in the sense of a sound hole, and bringing it to the side, creating it as more like a port, and opening up the soundboard.
Mm-hmm. So the D-shaped sound hole from the 2020 Platinum actually kind of originated the idea of an off-center sound hole. We then took that because we loved what it created in improving the tone of the instrument, and decided to do a different shape. So this particular side sound port, but not this side sound port, but this one is specifically koa leaves, taking inspiration from the Big Island reforestation projects that we do, and they basically translate throughout the entire instrument, try and add continuity through it. And the whole idea of how moving it over and how it benefits the sound, I think a easy way for you to just understand what the middle of the instrument does compared to the edges of your instrument is just to tap on the center and then tap on the side, and you can hear there's a lot more resonance from the center of the instrument rather than the side of the instrument. So allowing more air or more soundboard in the center of the instrument compared to the sides is allowing for better resonance, and also allowing us to do stronger bracing but lighter bracing, eventually helping the tone of the instrument. So it can get kind of complicated, but I'm trying to keep it simple.
Yeah.
I got you. And yeah, there's also a lot more like lasered out sections on the top, on the inside. Like, how do you decide where those talk about that?
That's all in R&D. That's where, honestly, I think, although we do a great
talk
job
about R&D. Like, how do you guys go about just testing these different things out?
It leads, or the thought behind them basically is led by how can we improve the sound. And when we start to look at ways on how to improve the sound, I would like to say, we've tried so many things. We've been reinventing how an ukulele is braced ever since 2006, in comparison to the traditional fan brace, which was, and still in many ways is the industry standard. But when we start to look at how do we remove mass, and in this case, not necessarily something that's so visual, to say, where you wouldn't necessarily know what's going on the inside of the instrument, unless especially for the Platinum, we have access through the access panel to be able to see what's really going on inside. You can really see why we're removing mass through those areas to basically allow the soundboard to get better vibration. or to have more elasticity. And the even kind of touching back a little bit on moving the sound hole, and artistically the design is absolutely beautiful, but it also set forth some challenges too. Like typically we have what's called the transverse brace, or basically a brace that runs perpendicular to the center line that's helping to support right under the fingerboard and in the area that where the neck and the body and pretty much the tension that's being created from the string tension at the neck and the body, and how do we support it. And Kahiau and I just really looked at that area to free up, because we couldn't really put that style of brace in yet still strengthen it with our true support. And even that, I mean, we're talking like every step along the way, countless hours of R&D that goes into it, and it's staying diligent to the fact that there's a solution, yes, but it's a matter of kind of working through those different challenges that may surface to ultimately create something that, these are really uncharted waters, at least in our shop, and I would love to say as an industry. We're in areas that very few have ventured into. But
is there certain inspirations or like custom guitar builders you consult with, or like where do you learn new techniques or see what other, draw inspiration from?
I don't know. I mean, there may be something subconsciously. I don't know. I mean, a good example of that is just taking, for example, last year's Platinum, and not even really knowing another way, just coming up with our own solution in our way. And then I remember when Kaimana came to kind of show you, to get feedback, and you're like, man, that looks like a McPherson, so I guess, in that, am I inspired by the McPherson? I never really studied his guitar to know that I would have been inspired, maybe something subconsciously, or maybe the same solution or the same result that he got by doing what he did is kind of what led us to have the same solution or thought, and the similarities in our result kind of landed us very closely to each other in the design and the final look, to say. But when we look at the guitar world, there are so many phenomenal builders that do incredible work, and I think there's even at times maybe a mutual feedback that comes back and forth between what they do and what we do, to inspire each other in our own kind of unique way. So to say that there's one builder that stands out to me, not necessarily me personally, but I think for Kahiau being an amazing player, not only on ukulele, but even as he kind of graduated a bit to guitar, he I would like to say has inspiration from other builders.
Yeah. Personal inspiration would definitely come from Taylor guitars. Love their guitars, and Joe's really good friends with Bob Taylor, and so I've gotten to meet him I think twice now. So
you call your dad Joe?
Joe.
Dad gets to meet Bob Taylor. Joe, Nicholas Souza the Third. But yeah, I love Taylor guitars. Quality is, it's in their name, quality guitars. Always striving to do better in our quality. In terms of electric guitar, I really like Paul Reed Smith guitars. I think they're crazy, and also again quality. They're definitely.
But
at the top of the
have
game.
you delved into like all the different like custom builders, like Kevin Ryan and all of these guys? Because it's like you guys are like innovating along with like certain custom guitar builders, and I would think like there would be this constant flow of trying to like get ideas from each other back and forth. But I guess it's different in the ukulele world, especially too, because anything you're gonna test is gonna be unique to that instrument.
But I mean, even taking Ryan guitars, they're beautiful. I mean, definitely masterpieces, each and every one. So to not to say we have the hand on the pulse of the guitar world, but I think as we find our new normal post pandemic, and NAM is obviously a great place where we can meet, and whether it's Bob Taylor in the booth and we're talking shop, or we're at another builder's booth talking shop in different ways, or
I saw a $50,000 Kevin Ryan there with,
right.
well, was it 40,000? I forget. It was a lot.
It was.
I remember that one.
Yeah, it was mind-blowingly beautiful.
Yeah.
It had like turquoise as a purfling or something. I mean, like wildly beautiful.
Super.
Yeah.
So if I can add to the side of innovation and where, or I can, if you're,
Sorry.
no worries.
I pulled your camera away.
No worries. For like the innovation part, I think handing it to the builders is one step. I think there's some inspiration and innovation that you guys bring from them, but from kind of viewing from an outside point of view, I think we get a lot of inspiration and innovation from customers.
True.
And for example, like some people are just coming up to us like, hey, can you guys build a soprano pineapple? It's like, well, it's like we haven't even thought about that because we did our tenor pineapple. We're like, oh wow, like it's just like these small little things are like, oh, how can I do this? And they start asking questions because they want to make their ukulele better. And then I think when you guys kind of take the wheel of that, you guys can say, okay, how can we do that if it's possible, and everything. And
I just look at like the just how in depth your designs are getting. It's amazing. I mean, it's really cool.
Thank you.
And it's interesting how, like, yeah, all the hours of R&D, all of that, but you could take what you learned from each platinum and incorporate it slowly into the line, with elements here and there that you learned along the way, right?
Yeah.
Do you feel like there's an end to innovation?
I mean, personally don't. I don't think so.
It's
just
like, I don't
getting
know where you
started.
go from this year's platinum. It's like,
Right.
How do you top that?
Yeah. And I think Kahiau has really mapped us out a wonderful plan, because you have to imagine now, being a builder and really it being my passion for all these years, to basically selflessly say, hey, what do you think? And what he thinks, we actually go and we move forward with it. Because there could have been two ways. There could have been, this is the way we build it, and that's how we build it, and this is how we do it.
Come on.
Right. Yeah. Who would ever bend the soundboard, kind of thing, right? But I think that's where we keep ourselves flexible enough to be open for feedback, like how Iokepa is saying, having a customer come and say, we want a soprano pineapple. And I guess one way could say, well, talk to those guys, because that's what they do. And possibly they already have one from...
Do you guys have
Yeah,
a soprano pineapple? I don't know.
Not yet.
Not yet, right? Yeah.
I think you're going to have to.
Yeah,
make
we're
that
letting
happen.
out the cat, letting the cat out of the bag. But I think, but more importantly, I guess, is being able to say we're comfortable enough in what we do to be open enough to what others say, and be open to that feedback, and know that there is ways that we can always improve, as long as we listen to, the customer, or in this case, listen to the player. Kahiau being a player, now stepping into a builder's shoes and saying, well, if I could build an ukulele, this is how I'd like to build it. Or this is what I would like on my ukulele, which is pretty much what fueled me from a young player to becoming a builder. And fortunately, the gentleman who I learned from, Uncle Pete, created this space to allow me to have the creativity to say, yeah, we don't have to follow this, or we don't have to only contain ourselves as a builder to what an industry says we have to build to. We can build very creatively. And Kahiau, I think, and the boys, I mean, we collaborated on the 2020, and that went beautiful. Even on this platinum, I think we all had, in different ways, you know, our say in what we're doing. Like, I like that, I don't like that. This looks beautiful, maybe we can do that a little differently, or whatever it was. You know, and being able to say, it's okay. You know, we're not hurting each other's feelings. We're not trying to be mean. We're all family, and we're all on the same team in this. You know, we all are looking for the betterment of the instrument.
Literally.
Yeah, literally, you know.
I want to touch on something that was said earlier that kind of leads into innovation. Innovation, I guess, could be construed as, you know, thinking exactly what you're going to do, but sometimes it's just a crazy idea, and then, like you said it, the diligence to find the solution. Like for the Koa Leaf sound port, Kahiau has shared with us, I don't know if everybody else knows, but the back plate on the instrument was actually the hardest part to R&D for the 2021 Platinum. And being diligent in making those Koa Leaf sound ports work and making that backplate work. Because it could have very easily been, all right, let's just go back to a D shape or a center sound hole. But it was that drive to make that crazy idea happen and actually work. And I mean, there were troubles. You know, Kahiau has shared that it was the hardest part of this Platinum was the backplate.
Mm-hmm.
When we used to have issues with Kala's U-bass's backplate, but the magnets weren't nearly as strong as the magnet that you have. I think, like, it's just got to be a really strong connection so it doesn't vibrate.
Mm-hmm.
But do you think that there would be a bent top in the future at a more affordable?
Yeah. You know, looking into the crystal ball.
Yeah. Come on.
The Kanile'a crystal ball.
I mean, if you look at the history of
Give us the scoop.
Platinums,
Mm-hmm.
you know,
Yeah.
2019 was a pineapple tenor, and then we got the P1.
Yeah.
2020 had the D shape, and then, you
Yeah.
know, now we have the D series. So,
But the platinums are
Who
always so
knows?
special.
yeah.
They're the most decked out.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, and I
Trying
mean, go ahead.
Trying to add to the family part, it's kind of very true, because it's not just making space to kind of like think creatively, but I also think it's like just having the family like to support each person in doing so, because it at a lot of times I know we're cutting the wire a lot of times and wanting to get the Platinum to be finished. So that's why we, as like a family, we start setting deadlines really early on to really start designing this, because we can't, if we just took one weekend and tried to design the Platinum, it would come out pretty crappy. Because there's no R&D behind it.
So
There's
you're
no
planning
thought
all
behind it.
year for the next year.
Pretty
Oh
much.
yeah.
Yeah,
Oh yeah.
We already started for 2022.
Oh yeah.
And 23.
And 23.
Oh yeah, that's true.
Because that's our 25th anniversary.
Oh, wow.
Yeah. So there's a lot, you know, going on that way. But
Diamonds.
I right?
We already have the diamond model.
Real diamonds.
But, you know, touching a little bit on what Iokepa is pointing out, as, I mean, he is the most incredible accountability buddy that we have. You know, he's really like, okay, come on, gang. You know, this is due, we got to finish this. Which, in many ways, I mean, it's cheerleading, yes. It's keeping us accountable, yes. But more importantly, it's keeping us focused on what really needs to be done and cared for in a way that we know is important. And so to have him and all of us, I mean, we all bring our strengths in that way.
Is Iokepa still doing the Islander line?
He is.
Not really.
Yeah, he is. I mean, he's. Although we have a distributor now, he's the one who's pretty much taking care of Islander and
I'm looking at him. He's like, I ain't doing nothing.
It's a very confusing thing. So Islander is Kaimana does a lot of the sales for Islander here in Hawaii. We're getting a new distributor in Canada, new distributor in Japan.
Mhm.
We're working on crazy new models for Islander. Like Kanile'a has its innovation as well, but Islander has amazing innovations as well. Like that's equivalent. Like all these new box sets that we're coming out with, all these different things. It's
See?
I know. He's like
Even
trying
though
to
he
rub
humbly
you. He's
says
like,
no.
you guys think your stuff's cool. Wait for my stuff.
no, it's been a family project on
Yeah.
it for sure.
For sure.
Because helping with mom, like when we're kind of sitting down back in 2018 for Islander, I kind of had that dream of like, imagine if every Islander we sold, we planted a Koa tree. And we're like, okay, we don't make that much money on Islander because the instruments only sell for like $150. It takes like $30-$40 to plant a tree. You're like, how do you work out the math on that? But then at the end of the day, we kind of just said, okay, we were only going to make like $2 profit, but everything else goes to planting trees. So we actually made a commitment in 2018 to plant a Koa tree for every Islander, which we don't talk about. We talk about Kanile'a, which we sell a decent amount of Kanile'a, but for Islander, we sell a lot more. So Islander is planting a lot of trees as well that not many people actually kind of get into the backside to. And I probably only put 20% of my time into Islander. The other 80% is kind of helping support the whole company with Kaimana and Kahiau and everything, and not just accountability, but yeah, there's a lot of innovation on the back end of the company as well that we're working on.
And Iokepa is really leading that as far as what's happening,
like RFID inside the workshop,
behind the scenes
all
things.
these different things to help propel the company.
And new systems.
Yeah.
Our new dynamics system and all that stuff.
What's that?
Yeah.
It's an
For like spreadsheets. And,
Inventory, accounting, production,
sales.
everything. Our entire company on one.
Platform.
It's called Dynamics because it really is. We can talk to each other through it, and we build with it. It tracks all of our production builds, our sales, invoicing, bills, and everything. All happens in Microsoft Dynamics.
Hmm.
And
That's
Iokepa
pretty-
was the leader of that implementation.
Oh, very cool.
It was a very long night's process.
Yeah. I mean, it took him
I don't want to take away from the ukulele.
hundreds of thousands of hours. I mean, he took.
No, I mean,
that many hours.
I'm doing
You're
what
doing
you
that on the
do
back
on
end,
the
yeah.
back end of our stuff, like, you
Right.
know, trying to make software things work together and all this.
Mhm.
You know.
Yeah, there's a lot of
It's
back end.
It's a lot of boring stuff people don't want to know.
Yeah.
It's a lot of like cursor going down, up, down, or, like trying to like delete stuff, and it's just a lot of fun stuff. But I always like to help out in any way in production as I can as well. Like when we're in production, like making things more efficient, going through making new jigs, helping Dad with stuff, helping Kahiau create new ideas, help just like have a person that he can bounce ideas off of, because Kahiau. It's very interesting. If no one knows what Kahiau means, it actually means to give without anything in expectation. So that's what Kahiau kind of does when he's designing ukuleles and designing instruments. Is he puts all he can into the building of the instrument, innovating it, expecting nothing in return. So he's not really looking for people to buy the instrument or anything, or people to say that's amazing. He's just really designing it because this is something he loves to do. So it's just really cool to...
What's Iokepa mean?
It means Joseph, actually. Joe.
That's not as fun.
No.
But my middle name is Kanile'a Okavauna Hele Opa'i'i. And the first is Kanile'a, which is joyful sound. And the whole translation is joyful sound in the deep forest that people go in search of for knowledge. So it's a pretty cool...
Whoa.
That's a really deep
I want to go on that
middle
journey.
name.
That's right. We got to get you there.
Yeah.
Yeah, I know we were talking to Kalei earlier and said, your Koa trees are like this already. Man. It's pretty crazy.
Kalei
You know.
planted some over there.
Yeah. He came up a couple years already, you know.
Twice? Two
Yeah.
or three times?
Yeah.
So far?
Yeah. You know, and
It's a lot of fun.
it's a different type of piece, in a different serenity that's there. So, for Kalei especially, as an ukulele lover, and being able to come up and just spend time with a mature koa tree, and say, this tree's been here for 100 plus years, and understand that it's healthy and it's living and it's thriving, really because of the work that we're doing. Because, it's hard to fathom, because anybody else would say, cut that thing down and make ukuleles, and for us, it's not that. It's these are like super important to make sure that we can restore the forest and really translate something that's much bigger than we are.
But where do you get all of your unbelievable koa?
It's not easy. And I know we had a brief touch on that earlier, on how we have beautiful koa, and it's not easy. It's working with suppliers, of course, but to only use dead and or fallen koa trees in many ways empowers us, because it allows us to really enjoy and appreciate the prized pieces that we get. And they're so special. Really, it's a matter of pretty much like white glove treating these pieces, because they're so special, and translating that to the guys, so that because it's not really possible for us to be there touching every single piece, but having them understand how special the wood is and how really unique of a situation we have to be able to work with these prized pieces. And in many ways, working with the suppliers, we do get kind of, the only term that they use is like the fall off of trying to build a guitar. Luckily, our ukuleles are smaller in specs, and we're able to get pieces that may have been at one point slated to become a guitar, but now are becoming an ukulele. And, we do have trees that fall in our property, and for the boys, I think that's so special, because they're able to see pretty much from the forest the whole journey of the workpiece to become an ukulele. And I get it from a woodworker's point of view. I think that's the epitome of a woodworker's career, is to be able to see something from a raw log and be able to then create something from that, to become now something that's going to bring joy to so many people's lives. So for them to be part of that process and to really see it, because these are the same vision and or stories that they're going to tell their grandkids in the future, that these trees lived their life. Grandpa, grandma, mom, dad, they were smart enough to know that if we didn't do this now, we may not be able to build ukuleles in the future. Definitely not from Hawaiian koa. And, having them be part of that process, to know that we as a company, and more importantly as a family, created this to be something that's going to be here for generations to come. Whether we're building ukuleles or not, this is something that's going to be part of what our footprint, I guess you could say, is of being here, on Hawaii, in what we do. So, I think there's a deep connection, yes, from the Hawaiianness side and teaching the boys this way, but then more importantly, making sure that when they go to teach their kids, and their kids are teaching their kids, that this way of life wasn't lost, or this way of doing business wasn't lost. We can do this and do it in a much more responsible way. So to kind of circle back on where we get our wood from, it's taking the concept that we've done at Naniekolu, at our reforestation project, to show that, we don't need to cut the trees, let's keep them alive, but when they do live their life, we can responsibly build an ukulele from it, and showing that to other landowners as the potential way to manage their forests and not necessarily cut them down, but keep them alive till they live their life. And then now the life of the koa tree lives in our instrument. And so there are other, much bigger landowners than we are who understand that concept and who are willing to work creatively together to put together this responsible way of managing a forest and, of course, being able to build ukuleles in our case. So, yeah,
Is a lot of the issue just that, like, koa basically, like, all of the foreign species and animals that came over here just make it hard for koa, which naturally, would flourish here, but
yeah.
and so there's just a lot more care that's needed
Mhm.
to be able to have them
Yeah.
successfully grow now that we brought all this crap over here.
Right.
Kind of. The cattle love keiki koa. It's like a snack for cattle. So anytime there's a keiki koa that sprouts up, if the area is not fenced and there's wild cattle, they'll eat it. And snuffing that one out, there are a lot of new invasive weeds that are just crazy. I mean, you see it and it just takes over, and it's very interesting how they're dealt with. There was an ivy, a vine that would just grow up the trees and just basically take all of its UV light, take all of its water, but then they introduced a moth that only ate that ivy to eliminate it. So it's very interesting biological.
But then now that moth,
Loves Ilya.
Yeah, so fencing and just maintaining the invasive species. I mean, every time we go there, you're pulling weeds. Did you pull weeds, Kalei?
We put a lot.
Oh.
Yeah. We also put some like tree. Well, they look like trees because they're big weeds.
Yeah, they're just crazy.
Yeah.
The rule is you have to pull one bag of weeds. And these aren't small bags. These are the big
Yeah, it's
jumbo
like-
garbage bags.
Yeah, you think it's Kristen, mom hands you a garbage bag, and then you're like, okay, I can fill that, no problem. And then it's like Mary Poppins' bag. It just you keep stuffing
Yeah,
some weeds
45
in, and it's
minutes
like,
later,
what the heck?
you're like halfway.
oh man,
Yeah.
And it's just,
Fun.
I mean, thorny.
that's good. That's good for your
Yeah.
soul.
Yeah,
It is.
yeah,
It is.
But
You
the unfortunate part is the next week you have to go do it in the exact same location because it comes back.
It's like, oh, okay.
There's another one.
Yeah.
It's like my email box.
And I think at the end of the day, for the boys to be involved in that process is a gem in itself. But when we start to really look at what we do in the future and kind of sharing that message of, we talk about it. In fact, we try to teach it, this aloha aina, or, love for the land. But what does that really mean? And everyone has their own kind of interpretation of it. In this case, the boys have it firsthand. But I think what has really presented itself is an opportunity to be able to have many, many others experience the fact that aloha aina lives, and it lives in us, and everybody takes home their own little part of it, their own sense of what effect it has in their life, and whether it's they eat healthier, or they go home and they plant and start their own garden, or picking up the rubbish and throwing it away, whether it's your rubbish or not. Everybody kind of has their own sense of responsibility that they take home with them after seeing what's being created there and realizing, the type of work. In fact, we were just talking about, my father-in-law, the boy's grandpa, Papa Ed. And, he said, we'll plant a tree. That's easy. Anyone can plant a tree. When we took him to Naniakolo and had him plant his tree, an hour later, digging in rock to prepare the hole to plant his tree. He's like, this is nuts, It got him to have a better understanding and a better respect, I guess, to say, of what's really taking place, and then really appreciating that connection that it's really hard to explain.
Yeah, I've been telling you for a couple of years already that I want to go experience it, but
Yeah.
I'll make it over there eventually.
Yeah.
And yeah, it's a beautiful thing, and it makes a lot of sense too. And let's check out some of these other ukes that you brought up.
Which one?
Oh man,
Oh,
they're all cool. Whichever you got. Let's
There
start
it
with
is.
it.
I just picked up the case and it is. Oh.
the ukulele site exclusive.
Ooh.
Mhm.
Everyone loves exclusive models.
Right?
We've got here the DC tenor, similarly to the DR tenor, but if you've, it was probably a couple months ago, maybe saw Kalei Corey folks sampling, demo sampling, sound sampling our samples to eventually create the DR. So we tried the Alaskan cedar top, and then we also tried a spruce top, and we eventually went with the Sinker red top. But you know, cedar and spruce, the instruments were in and of themselves amazing, and no reason to not build it. So Andrew had asked, hey, can we, you know, still get the cedar and spruce? And you know, it was pretty much an instant yes, of course. We want people to have the cedar and the spruce option.
But you just have to get it through.
Yep, you just got to get it through the ukulele site.
Wow, that thing sounds so good. And you sound pretty good too, buddy.
Oh, thanks. It's all the uke. It's all the uke, baby.
Very cool.
Mm-hmm.
What
guys
else
have
you
any
got
more
in
over
your
there?
bag of
I
goodies?
I have the
got the two.
the rosewood headplate one.
Oh yeah, yeah.
Oh yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. Mm-hmm.
So, I saw this one, and I asked Kahiau, I was like, "Where'd this come from?" And he was like, "Oh, I just thought of it and we built it." And so this was Kahiau's design. A lot of rosewood implements, which thankfully, you know, is okay to use again. Rosewood for the bridge, the fretboard, and the headplate, which we really like. It really does a nice job of framing the headstock and the logo. We've got our armrest and our bevel here with beautiful abalone. I don't think you can ever go wrong with a nice abalone rosette. Of course, premium Koa, borderline, I mean, master grade. The silk neck as standard.
was beautiful.
Damn.
2 chords.
You're too damn.
Just 2 chords.
Warm,
Mm-hmm.
well balanced.
You know, there's something with the sound of rosewood that I really like.
Mm-hmm.
The elements there for the bridge and fretboard.
Yeah.
It's nice to see them on Kanile'a again. For years and years, that was the look of Kanile'a.
Yeah, it was. You know, and it did throw us for a little curveball. You know, with the all rosewoods. You know, all Dalbergians.
Yeah, when they
making it
did
to the appendix, the CITES appendix. But you know, when they freed it up again, and I get it. You know, East India and their efforts to ensure that rosewood can be sustainably done. Really allowed us to be able to bring rosewood back and you know, to do something where Kahiau designed a rosewood, you know, adorned instrument. Because same here, I love rosewood. I remember early on, you know, we're throwing back the ebony rosewood idea, and you know, we had a customer, you know, again giving us feedback, and they're like, I don't like ebony, it looks cold. I love rosewood because it's got grain, it's got life, you know. And it's like interesting that, you know, a customer could be that honest, you know, but it's really it's true, you know. I mean, if especially in ebony's heyday, you know, it had to be like jet black and no streaks and you know, and it was very rigid, or you know, the
I mean, they would not even like, they would like burn logs that were like
yeah,
not black, right? Is
right,
it?
yeah, it's kind of crazy. And now, you know, and you know, paying homage to Taylor and Bob
yeah,
and what they're doing with you know, being responsible in this case as a builder and saying, you know what, there's nothing wrong with it having some lighter streaks or some, you know, grain in there, and it actually brings life to the wood. You know, it doesn't
I
look
prefer
so.
it.
I like it too. Yeah.
Same
I
here.
mean, there's a look to both. That
Yeah.
nice, like, classy stark black is cool,
Mhm.
but on a lot of the ebony, it's nice to see the character of the wood coming through too.
Mm-hmm, mm-hmm. That's
But
true.
yeah, rosewood. I mean, you know, they all have their own. Come on, guys, you got to buy one of each. You know,
But you know, it's beautiful.
spice of life.
Right. You know, and even go beyond. You don't necessarily have to have only one high G, one low G. You know, you can get pretty creative.
You could have both on the same uke.
Yeah, there you go.
Whoa, I should talk about the fives.
Yeah, I summoned
Right,
the
right.
next creation.
Our cases, by the way,
Oh yes.
They're so good.
extremely
yeah.
solid. You know, we say gig case. We try to say gig case instead of bag. You know, it's got the tuck away straps, which is really important, and it's got, you know, it's got all that PVC piping inside, and well, not piping, paneling.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, this wasn't even neck strapped,
Mm-hmm.
and it looks great in there.
All right. Wow.
Yeah. I mean, you know, for some people, they didn't quite get it at first.
Yeah.
Like, they were like, "Oh, I want a case." It's like, no, this is like better. Like, it's actually more expensive than a lot of the wood cases.
Wood cases.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But
And it's actually water repellent,
Mhm.
the exterior too. So it
Right.
keeps moisture out, but it also keeps moisture in with your humidifier.
Mm-hmm.
yeah,
We can't
I
say
like 'em.
waterproof. The zipper is not waterproof, but it's water repellent.
Mm-hmm.
This is a 5-string super tenor with some green poplar accents for the bevel, the armrest,
Oh my goodness.
the purfling,
Mm-hmm.
and the green poplar. A Kalei custom right there.
That's right.
He does those by hand,
Mm-hmm.
each one, and he even puts a little bit of our UV gloss on it and buffs them. So he's got his fingers in the buffing wheel.
Mm-hmm.
Those are handmade,
Right.
green poplar all the way,
Right.
with the gold Goto stealths. And this is that, you get the best of both worlds. Low G, high G,
Mm-hmm.
And we strung this one out with fluorocarbons to give it a real punch.
Yeah.
Dang it. I like 5 strings because they have such a unique voice.
Mm-hmm.
Like you said, you get best of both worlds. You can do all that, like, and then all the Troy Fernandez.
You know, a while ago, I was talking to a customer, and they're so intimidated by the 5-string. Like when you say it over the phone, you're like, "Oh yeah, it's a 5-string instrument," and they have no idea really what it is. So they're like, "Oh, what's a 5-string?" They have no idea what the 5-string is. But then you try to explain it to them. You're like, "Oh, it's they're right next, paired up next to each other," and they're still intimidated until like they get it and able to play the 5-string. Then they're like, "Oh,
Yeah,
now I kind of understand it a little bit more."
Just close your eyes and play it like you normally would.
That
You
makes
know?
yeah.
It gives this illusion that there's another layer of something inside of just the inner workings of the ukulele, which is super cool. And it's a very natural green that reminds me of the kind of green you see in nature. It's very well.
It's
very,
actually
very well
all green. They just put some koa on top. No.
done.
Kalei
When it
was
gets
saying
mad, it
that's,
turns even
that
cooler.
that was his favorite 5-string Kanile'a he's ever heard.
I can see and hear why.
Yeah, it definitely is. I mean, it didn't take much thinking or it didn't take much time for me to decide that. I was just like, I played it. I was like, okay, this is. If I was playing a Kanile'a 5-string, that would be the one.
So earlier in the day, I was looking through some of the podcasts because we had released one recently, and then on the right side, there's like videos associated with our channel. I saw Mike. He did a cover when he came here, and I think it was around Christmas time, and it was Joni Mitchell's "River." Like both versions, the original one is very, very touching song. There's a lot of feeling in it. When Mike did it, he took it like to the next level, and
In classic
like a-
Mike style.
holy crap, this is a tearjerker. But yeah, so I was trying to figure out the melody, and I think I got it. So let's try.
Like from a player's perspective with the 5-string, do you think it's harder to play the 5-string?
I mean, I not necessarily.
Yeah.
I mean, you do have to cover, 2 strings every time you place your fingers along the G, but I think it's something you just gotta get used to too. It's not necessarily harder. It
Play
just
it
feels
exactly
different.
the same.
Yeah, you just do whatever you normally would do. You know?
Right.
Unless you're trying to like individual out that high G
I
or
know,
something,
right.
do something
Oh,
fancy.
yeah,
That could be kind of tricky.
Right.
Oh, it's so hard.
Willie used to be able to do that. And
Yeah.
I would just be in amazement,
Yeah.
That guy is just...
You're not even
he's-
looking, eyes closed.
Yeah, he's just so gifted that way. But, the boys actually not made me, but gave me an opportunity to retire my old 8-string. And that was with a surprise birthday gift. And they went in, Kaimana headed the project and built me a 5-string super tenor. It's mind-blowing beautiful. Totally surprised me. Had no idea. And it's funny, when they went to present it,
What was this for?
it was for my birthday. Yeah.
2019 birthday.
Yeah, 2019.
2019.
Yeah, 2019.
You
Thank you.
turning 22?
Yeah, 22. And there's an instrument in final assembly. I'm like, man, that's a beautiful ukulele. So of course I'm like grabbing it, and it didn't like dawn on me at that moment. And then later, Kaimana said, "Oh, Dad, come to assembly." And so I'm walking through, and I'm going to milling. I'm like, man, where is everybody? It's not break time. We should be working, right? And Kaimana and the boys arranged, I guess, for everyone to be in milling or in assembly, and presented me with my birthday gift. And oh man, I was like a mess. Of course, I couldn't play it, but made this beautiful 5-string and converted me, really, because I played an 8-string for years. And even though it's my little workhorse and I took it everywhere, it pretty much retired my 8-string to play the 5-string.
That's so cool.
Yeah.
All Koa.
All cool.
Cool.
100%.
Mm-hmm.
Really?
Even the pins, the fretboard, everything.
Mm-hmm.
Bracing?
Bracing was Iliahi actually, so 98%.
Yeah. But still.
So sounded was
100%
bracing.
Hawaiian.
Yeah,
Yeah,
Koa
100%
strings
Hawaiian.
and everything.
yeah.
No, but it was really
Wow.
cool as well. It wasn't just. I think we're giving ourselves a little bit of credit, too much credit. But also, Lena also made a video called Joe Boy.
Oh,
You
yeah.
remember that video? She got together like most of our artists, and they, Lena, who does Lena Langi. She's a radio host, and we're actually fortunate enough.
Everybody
she works
knows
with-
Lena.
Yeah,
Lena girl.
everyone knows Lena. Yeah, okay, Lena girl. She actually made a video of all of our artists singing this one song. It's like goes.
She wrote the song.
She wrote the song.
Yeah,
Yeah,
this jingle.
it's like Joe Boy.
Mhm.
Like it kind of sounds. Yeah, it's so catchy. I
Right.
think it's on YouTube.
Yeah,
Yeah,
it's
it
on
is, it
YouTube.
is.
It's so catchy, and
It's
it
cute.
was made for his birthday,
Yeah.
and
It was a
it
surprise.
was a surprise as well.
Yeah.
And she did that all by her own. Like she
Mhm.
didn't. She just on her own free time she made
You're
that.
well loved, sir.
Yeah.
Surrounded by good
fortunately,
folks.
surrounding ourselves with good people allow good things like that to happen. So
Yep.
just it's a blessing.
Mhm.
Yeah.
100%.
Mm-hmm.
You guys have more on that side? or-
Oh my goodness. Behold. That is something for the eyes.
If you hold it at different angles, though, you see different colors.
Yeah.
There's a little bit of green.
Mm-hmm. And
This is pretty much a full maple instrument, besides fingerboard, nut, bridge, and strings.
Mhm.
And yeah, I mean, so this one was actually designed by one of our final assembly and finishing technicians, Kalei, and he also did the staining on the entire instrument.
He's our longest standing production employee. I
Mhm.
think it's 11 years,
Mhm.
which is quite remarkable.
Wow.
Yeah, it's just stunning. And a 5A maple, just mind-blowing, beautiful, curly maple. and kind of a sapphire.
Pretty hot.
It's
I'm just gonna spend an
unbelievable.
hour just taking pictures of that one.
I
So crazy beautiful.
I mean,
Yeah.
even the neck is insane.
The follow-up to the green that you folks all saw, maybe it was like 2 months ago or so.
Mm-hmm.
That electric green
Could we call this one Blue Tiger?
blue
Blue
tiger.
tiger. Yeah.
I guess
Sounds
so.
like a fitting name,
Yeah, blue tiger.
right?
Where are those found? The
Um,
ukulelesite.com.
That's right.
I think I saw one in
So
Texas.
crazy.
Hell in Texas.
So beautiful.
One in
And,
Texas.
Man,
and
you-
Are you
special
the
too.
Tiger King?
You know, like I was telling you, like I'm just so glad with like how the coloring came out on this, because it's like it's got that ocean depth to the top there with the greens and the blues, and I don't know, this one might be my favorite, but I really love that green one. What's amazing to me is you guys are making all maple ukes sound amazing. I mean, it's not like, you know, maple isn't a great sounding wood, but it's like you have to work with it a little bit more to get that fullness and richness. I mean, the green one sounded awesome. What you think?
I like this one more.
Oh.
It just, I don't know. It just keeps getting better and better. It's not fair. It's like, it's like every time we pull one out of the case, we're like, oh, this is my favorite, and then like a few months later, no, this one's my favorite.
Totally honest.
I mean, blue's one of my favorite colors, and so is green. So that's why it was a hard toss up between the two.
Crazy. The clarity on the note, and I mean, it just rings.
Still sustaining. 1 minute later, it's still going.
Right?
Dang.
Yeah,
Still
but
going.
wait,
Yeah.
I can hear it.
when it was yesterday, we were in assembly and we're holding a wooden body and we're just talking, and then I think I was talking to Kahiau and he was holding the body and he's like, wait, the instrument's vibrating just from us speaking to each other. Like the wood is just kind of like vibrating from all the voice vibrations, which is kind of crazy. It's like how alive the instruments are.
Yeah.
Even when they didn't have strings on or anything, it was just a raw piece of wood.
Oh yeah,
Yeah.
a good box is just like
Right.
ready to
Just
start
resonating.
vibrating.
Yeah, yeah. Which is cool, you know, seeing those moments with the boys' faces, like, it's so cool. talk.
Little like
Does this have a head plate or is that just the neck? It's got a head plate.
It has a head plate.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. So it's a maple head plate.
Mm.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
Mm.
And what is that, like 3-piece neck?
It is a
Mhm.
three-piece. Yeah.
Yeah.
Dang.
Ebony for the rosette, bevel, and armrest. And if you look closely, there's the white streaks in the ebony picked up the blue.
Oh yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Oh wow.
It's pretty cool.
Yeah, you gotta get a close up on this.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, it has to be at the right angle though.
Right.
Oh, I don't know if I'm gonna catch what you're talking about.
Mhm.
Yeah, you kind of have to zoom in, like.
But it looks
close.
good anyway.
I mean, you'll see it in the pictures.
Mhm. For
And
sure.
you might need it in person. So.
Yeah,
I mean,
yeah.
you know.
Hint,
There
hint.
you go.
I mean, there's only one, so there's
Yeah.
one option. If you want to see it in person, just buy it.
I thought it was sold already.
Oh, I'm sorry.
It sold 5 minutes ago.
No.
Meet you guys in the back. I mean, growing up in Hawaii, this type of blue really reminds not just me, but all of us here of the ocean. You can kind of look at the wood grain, it has more of like ripples, or you can look at them as like small little swells and waves kind of slowly building. And this thing sounds really, really killer.
Message Haruo right now. Hey, yeah, really nice Kanile'a right now.
Or you can let me just take this one home.
This one's spoken for.
All right, let's listen to it solo.
Man.
I just love it when you can just play something simple and it comes out nice.
Yeah.
It's hard too. It's like I was trying to like think of something that kind of sounds like water or
Nice.
droplets in the sea. It's just trying to imagine the whole thing like water washing up on the shore. Yeah.
Yeah.
I love that style of composition you do.
It's like imagery.
I mean, it helps, you know. Like mostly, like all my pieces are emotional driven. When you can imagine the visual aspect, it kind of helps a lot more.
Yeah, let's just. In the middle of the whole thing, I forgot that it was a 5 string. And like I was
and you
playing
was
it,
only playing the low G.
but then like as I was playing, I realized, oh, it is a low G. So I was doing like, I can do.
Oh
yeah,
I gotta-
Yeah, that's like classic funk. The octaves.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's like really kind of it's like a little bit scooped in the mids,
Yeah.
so it's like even sweeter.
Super clear too.
Yeah, I like it.
It's funny because right before the podcast, you're like, if you're gonna do customs, you're gonna do a Petros level. You gotta. And then they were just like, bam.
And the clarity in the note, and building with all maple, which again, I'm not going to say it hasn't been done before, but as far as for us as Kanile'a, it is new, for us to build, and fortunately, working with our suppliers to be able to have access to this, super curly master grade 5A, however they grade it, maple, to then figure out thicknesses and look at the bracing and really figure out how we're going to get this instrument to sound good and of course look beautiful too.
Okay, what strings are those?
I'm pretty sure those are the worths.
Mm.
But
Same
with
as the
false
platinum?
rounds, yeah.
Same as the platinum.
Yeah.
So you guys are putting fluorocarbons on just select customs.
Pretty much. Yeah.
What about the whole line?
Ooh, that's Pandora's box. And honestly, we have gone through every string that we know of.
You bought every string from
Yeah.
us just to test it.
And I think it's just a matter of finding the right voice. And for me, I'm totally good with going with a different brand of strings. I think more importantly, it's, Kahiau, and then cumulatively we agreeing on what string is the right string. So when...
Is there like a debate within the family over what string is the best string?
Not really.
No.
Yeah.
We
But
kind of
maybe
all agree a
maybe
lot
everybody
on
in the
stuff.
comments could let us know. what
Yeah,
they
yeah,
think.
yeah.
Comments are probably gonna go off
No,
Yeah.
yeah.
about
which
this
is
one.
great.
Well, there's a lot of people that love Aquilas, and I do too.
Mhm.
But yeah, you definitely get a little more sustain and like a little more sparkle on the highs. I think with the fluorocarbon set. But it there's something in the mid range with the Aquilas that's nice too. So it's almost always going to be a give and take.
Mhm.
Yeah.
I mean, we've had the opportunity to just take the instrument, try out different strings on it, but record the one with the old strings, like comparing Aquila to this, and then hearing the tonal differences. For sure, one thing we found with the worths are the clarity. Like there's almost this removance of
Yeah.
and that alone, I mean, once you kind of hear it, like hear an instrument without it compared to it with it, like
I
any
agree.
instrument I pick up from now on, and I hear that sound in the string, I'm like, I kind of want to go to those worth strings. So I mean, there's definitely benefits. It's kind of like we got to
It's-
figure out the.
It's like my brother. He's like, I don't even care anymore. Everybody's just gonna change them anyway.
Yeah.
It's like
Right.
it's one of those things where like you pick something, as a manufacturer, knowing that like you're not gonna make everyone happy with that choice, and it's
Yeah.
easy to change. So.
I put out a
Right.
survey once,
Mhm.
and the winning string was actually Aquila.
Yeah, I think it's because it's been the most popular, and you get good volume for a relative low tension. There's a lot of good things about the Aquilas.
Right.
So I don't know. I mean, it's just different.
Yeah. But for a player's point of view, again with Kahiau, putting what he notices, those tonal nuances into the platinum, and now the platinum really coming with not with Aquilas, to say, is I think a great step forward for us. And even though there may be a little bit of a risk in that, eventually when the customer and or the player gets to hear the difference and understand why we're doing these particular strings on an instrument as special as our platinum, they really understand that. And will it translate to the whole line? I don't know. I can't say today, but I can say that I'm open for it, and I'm willing to, if we find the right combination of string that works well with our building and our design, then yeah, because these are, if I remember correctly, they're a low tension worth. Yeah, so they still have great playability, but still some amazing clarity, which I love.
You should just get the Cigar line straight from the factory.
We
and
got
just
those
be
on
done with it.
Amazon. They're expensive.
Yeah, so are worth.
Yeah.
All strings but a kilo.
And like
Expensive.
with as much as we sell worth, I still can't give them to get me any more of a discount. It's like I don't know, but they're well loved and we'll keep carrying them.
Yeah. I mean, they're great strings, right?
Kalei, can you give us a sample on this platinum?
The most
I
important
know.
instrument here.
They've been waiting a little bit for it.
It's been in view this whole time.
It's like looking at it, I was like, hey.
Don't forget about
I'm Kalei.
The mug is nice and warm, huh? Kahiau been warming them up. Yeah, listen to that. It's crazy.
Yeah.
Right?
Do you find a benefit in the radius fingerboard?
I actually do. I prefer like subtle radius, like this.
Mhm.
What is it again?
It's a 16-inch radius.
So it's like, because like growing up in the islands, most of us never got to play a radius fretboard until just recently, over the last 10 years, when it actually really became a thing. And then I mean, it just makes like these types of chords so much easier to hold, because naturally your fingers don't sit perfectly flat.
Right.
And especially for our customers, we get people that play ukulele from all parts of the world and different ages.
Right.
And having a little anything to increase the comfort and make the experience more enjoyable for our customers, is something that we always love when we get to experience it ourselves before an instrument comes from here to whoever may own it in the future.
What about the true relief? Do you think it's comfortable?
Actually, it's like, that's one of the things that like I didn't notice when I first played the other platinum. I grabbed it and then I held it up to my body. I was like, wait, something's different. And then I was like, oh, yeah. I was like, you don't need an armrest right here. I mean, you just use the soundboard as part of it. But like as far as like what's coming out of here, it's just insane.
Right. Right.
Yeah.
Yeah, the tone.
It's just the tone. It's like,
We're talking
like a Bose speaker when you walk around it and the sound kind of stays the same. And that's kind of like what you would describe coming out from here.
We were talking yesterday about the mass reduction that's inside. I think not that many people are paying too much attention to it, but it's so revolutionary in the just in like everything.
Yeah.
Like it's so amazing, and we were kind of talking yesterday, like what's actually making the platinum sound so good? Is it the sound hole? Is it the just the bracing? Is it the wood? Is it
I think it's everything.
the reduction?
you know.
And the reduction's probably having a huge thing, because we had this a good point was when you want to dry any sort of wood, you actually want to get it to where as much surface area is exposed as possible. And what we're actually doing with the reduction, the mass reduction, is you're just creating a lot more surface area in the instrument. So you're kind of creating more wood without making the body bigger. Or
Bro,
anything.
my brain's gonna explode.
And we
Yeah,
have
more
some deep
wood.
conversations, which is wonderful. It fuels R&D. It really does for us, and getting the feedback. And saying, "Oh, that worked. Let's not do that."
I really do. I'm gonna go study that. That's a really
Right, because if
interesting
you have
concept.
like a straight line is
Yeah, it's more surface
yeah, but
area.
if you're going in, then that distance is longer, so there's more wood being exposed.
For it to vibrate more.
You all right back there?
Corey just fell over and
Supervisor.
Oh, wait, need more whiskey. Yeah, that's right.
So Corey's been busy, but he's here, and we're gonna have him and Kalei play these instruments. So yeah, here in a little bit, we'll get some duets on these too. You guys can hang out too.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Be
no,
a
we
nice-
will. It'll
nice
be
end to
fun to
this.
watch and
Yeah.
to be part of.
But
Get a
no,
free
it's
concert.
all it's all very fascinating stuff.
Oh yeah. Right
Yeah,
there.
Kahiau.
Hey.
Kahiau can play.
Yeah.
Come
Have
on,
to
man.
jump in.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, 1, 4, 5,
You guys are gonna
3.
have to keep it real simple.
Oh, we can follow you. Or we'll try to.
Yeah, actually, we have a lot of fun playing. And it's true. I mean, there are days we're in the shop, 10, 12-hour days.
Yeah.
And that's normal. That's
You gotta
not
break it up.
uncommon. Yeah. And then we go home, and it's like, okay, dude, what are we playing? And I mean, we just sit there and we jam. We play. And I think at the end of the day, when you're this passionate about ukulele and you embrace it and it's part of your life like this, when you go home and you just play, it renders all of that down to the simplicity of why we do what we do. It's just to play and have fun, and those moments are priceless. And then there's days where, we're downright tired and, we're not really up on playing. And then I'll walk by Kahiau's room and I hear, doo 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 doo. And he's in his happy
Rocking out
place.
some mayor.
Yeah,
John
jamming John
Mayer.
Mayer, and shredding it. So
On this giant milkman in Aint.
It's
And
on
our
like one
neighbors.
bar.
Yeah.
'Cause if it's on 10, the whole house is shaking.
It's shaking at 3.
yeah.
You gotta get an attenuator.
And then you hear Kaimana, shut up! Because his room's next door. No, he doesn't. Kaimana, I think, appreciates, hearing music coming from his brother's room as much as we all do.
Anytime before 8 p.m.
Don't wake up the baby.
That's right.
Pretty sick. So are you guys getting a place?
Yeah.
Ooh.
Yep.
Where you
Still in
gonna live?
Kaneohe.
Oh, cool.
Mhm.
Awesome.
Closer to Kailua side of Kaneohe.
Hmm.
Yeah.
That can be a fun 2-chord jam, just That's kind of like another part to a song too, right? Like from the same era.
Well, it almost sounded like a local band.
I mean, there was like I was thinking of playing Pharrell's what is it? Happy if you happy. What's the name? Of that
Happy.
song? Yeah, is it Happy? Because there's like the bridge part, right, from the chorus, I guess. Like But then that's the same chord progression from this other like 70s song or something, or like 10 other 70s songs.
Teach us the chord progression.
So,
So it's A flat major 7.
so this is you're gonna bar
Okay, Kalei, teach the chord.
B flat minor 7, major 7.
A flat.
Oh, A
A
flat.
flat.
Oh
Major
yeah.
7.
G sharp major 7.
No, you can just go A flat. Well, because like you don't want to call a B flat a A sharp. So I would say like A flat.
But then wouldn't this be a G
Major 7.
minor 7?
You could do that too if you want to do a G minor 7.
So can I go G sharp major 7 and then G minor?
Like, you kind of want to keep like the chord, like the root chord names like different, because that's what makes a chord.
Oh, that's true.
Because if you're
Wait, this is-
constantly in G sharp, then the
Yeah,
bass
G
is
sharp-
going to be playing
G
one
sharp and
note.
G. Where is it, man? Okay, so do a B flat major 7th,
A flat.
A flat major 7th. Sorry.
Sorry,
So-
I gotta do something because it's bothering me.
Oh, is it smudgy?
Okay, sorry. Where were
So, the chord progression is an A flat major 7, like so. You're gonna bar the top 3 strings on the 3rd fret, and then you're gonna put your pointer on the 1st fret of the top string, bottom string. Trying to be correct, because these technically this is the top string and this is the bottom string.
Yeah.
So, bar the top 3 strings on the 3rd fret, and then you're gonna fret with your pointer on the 1st fret of the bottom string
Or the 4th string.
or the 4th string. Yeah. And then it's gonna be a G minor 7th after that, and that you're just gonna be barring the first 2 frets of the top string and the 2nd fret of the 3rd string, C string, with your middle finger. So that's the 2 back and forth. That makes a good jam.
So you guys can go back now and jam with them.
And then you would play in like E flat, right? It's the key E flat. And then one thing you can do like as a bridge, kind of to change it up. It's pretty stale when you just do 2 chords back and forth. Yeah. So I was gonna do the that kind of.
Or
There you go. Yeah. So the if you want to throw in that bridge there, it's just E sharp minor,
Or F minor.
F minor, and then you're gonna go to G minor, and then to G sharp, and then you're gonna end on B7 if you want. Yeah, B7.
B flat 7.
B flat 7, sorry.
Or
And then back to the chord progression, A flat major 7, and then G minor 7. So oh. Yeah, and so on and so forth. So F minor, G minor, A flat, and then B flat. 7, if you want. So, there you go.
All right, so thank you guys so much. Keep
Yeah.
up the amazing work, and tell Mom we missed her, but there's only, so many mics and cameras we can fit. And
She's hanging out with the
she's
puppies
probably
right now.
happy to not come up to do it.
She's probably fast asleep.
Oh, they're out of the house already.
And thank you to you guys.
Yeah.
You know, Andrew for the many years of support, Kalei, and of course the whole team, right? You know, and are you on camera? There. But for what you guys do, of course for Kanile'a, but more importantly, what you do for the whole ukulele community, and really ensuring this movement that is affecting.
It's like we have this guy Billy Dominic that's been like, he's worked with Taylor for years. He worked with PRS. He ran Blue Guitar's repair department for like a decade, and another repair department he ran on the East Coast for many years. So talking about like almost 40 years of lutherie experience, and he's setting up your ukuleles, so it's like that. I'm really happy that we have him managing the setup team, and it's like he's very demanding on the people working for him in a great way. And so for our customers, they get to be on the other end of that. It's like you guys make just the most pristine, amazing instruments. It's like our specialty is just that final step of just making sure it's just butter and everything's just perfect and buffed out perfectly. We got Corey's potato chip grease off of and then just to have these guys to sample the instruments and show them properly, and also to inspire, educate. So I'm really grateful, but without companies like you guys, and you guys are super essential for us, we wouldn't be able to do what we do. And so thank you so much. We really, really appreciate it.
Thank you, Andrew. And again, thank you to your team. Thank you, Kalei. Thank you, Corey, in the secret agent man status.
Yeah, it certainly goes both ways.
Yeah.
We could we'll just continue saying thank you and all these good things about each other.
No, thank you.
It's like we're fighting over the bill at the
No, because it's true though. It's true. We really work hand in hand. I'm here every week.
Right. And Billy is a blessing to you and to your customer, but to us too, because what he's doing is just up-leveling everything that we've done, and taking it to that 40 years of experience when he's diving into every instrument that he touches, and that to me is so special, and so.
Well, it's just like with Kaleo, you have like certain workers where you're just like, man, they get it. They're so good. So those are definitely blessings to have within your organization.
Right. You know, and nurturing them in what they need too.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Trying to make sure they stay around.
Right. But, you know, and creating a healthy workforce in that too. Because, I mean, with Kanile'a, you don't have to tell him to push. He lives push, you know. I mean, that's his mentality is that. You know, sometimes it's like, hey, we gotta have fun too. You know what I mean? So the boys are buying lunch for the, you know, and every month we're celebrating whoever's birthday is this month, you know, and I mean, when we really look at it, to us, that is why we come to work. You know, I mean, there's a community and this family that we've created when everybody comes, you know, and at any given time you can walk into the shop and it's, you know, it's a buzzing beehive. There's all this stuff that's going on, right? You know, from master grade koa that's being cut and sanded and taken to these next steps to, you know, Kanile'a buffing on an instrument, and you walk in and it's like crazy. You know, he's just...
Yeah, if you guys visit the island, definitely stop by Kanile'a. Do you guys do a certain time for your tour?
You know, right now we're still
it's like
doing
it's
the tour
COVID.
thing.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. But, you know, I mean, once we find our new normal, our tours were at like
It was at 10:30.
10:30, yeah.
We usually like mid-morning.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
It was free.
Yeah,
And
free
it's
tour.
free. Yeah.
2022.
About 90 minutes long.
Wow.
If you got
Yeah.
data, it's about 3.5 hours.
yeah.
3.5 hours. I want to eat too. I guess it's unique because the questions that are asked, sometimes they're answered in my explanation, but there are some unique questions that come up that are great because, you know, as a group, cumulatively as a group, you know, that person who's asking those questions, it could be the same question that somebody else had, but it's giving them insight, you know, what we're doing, you know, to what's going on, to say. So it's always...
What's the stupidest question you ever know?
Which one?
So let's break down this setup a little bit. So I'm gonna set up for Corey and Kalei to jam on some of these beautiful instruments and
Awesome.
Mahalo again.
Thank
Yeah,
you so
mahalo.
much.
Thank you.
All right.
Yeah.